Because I view that as my job. I go in and I shake up the status quo. I said, I know this is how you do things, and why do you do these things? And so I don't view myself as skilled. I view myself as incredibly lucky that I can say whatever's on my mind and get away with it, and most people don't have that luxury. What's the worst that can happen? And why you can fire me? I'm done. I'm okay. When you look, I mean, say, when people talk about staring into the abyss, I say, go ahead, stare into the abyss. You might find it's an inch deep. I stared in the abyss a long time back, and I decided, nothing there. What's the worst that can happen? So I can say things that are on my mind and might insult people, and there are bankers who always say, how dare you say something like that about, take it for what it's worth. No, that's what it is.
Okay, we can now continue with your questions. Thank you.
So we'll do one more question.
Yes.
What led you to evaluate Uber over the other ride shares? Or did you also evaluate the other
Well,
ride
Uber
shares as
is
well?
the biggest story. I mean, let's face it. Uber is a fascinating story. They want to rule the world, right? It's got Caesar. They really want to dominate the universe. This is not a company that's going to go away. Okay? It's the other ride-sharing companies are just hanging out. You know what riding in the draft in a bicycle race is? You know, the lead guy takes the win, and all the other guys go in the draft because it basically means they have less work to do. That's what all the other ride-sharing companies are doing. Whenever you hear of a fight, who's involved? It's always Uber. Uber against the city of New York, Uber against Frankfurt, Uber against London. Taxi drivers go on strike. Notice that nobody has a Lyft thing saying, I want Lyft out of here. It's Uber. So for better or worse, this is a company that I've never seen a private business become this much part of a public discourse as Uber has. Not even Facebook.
What about driverless cars?
Well, that's an interesting question, because when you talk to one of the problems with the ride-sharing business is the way it's structured is it's impossible to make money. Reason is simple. Uber will have big revenues, but they have no way of keeping the competition up. Why? Because they've created a business where there's no capital needed to get into the business. You don't need cars, you don't hire drivers. They've created a great model for allowing them to grow, but it's also a model that means that they can't keep the rest of the world up. So last year, for every dollar Uber made in revenues, they spent $3. Why? Because they're competing with Lyft. Lyft pays $2,500 to get an Uber driver away. Uber pays $3,000. It's like free agents without contracts. Can't end well. So something has to change in the business. And there are 4 possible things that can happen. The first is that Uber pulls it off. Winner take all. Which means it's got to drive everybody else up. There was a chance 2 years ago that could happen. But as Didi Kuwadi has been able to raise capital in China and partner with Lyft, the second possibility comes in, which is you're going to have losers, they call it, which is you're going to have two players, both of which want to drive the other side out, and they're both going to drive margins down. Uber prices in the New York area have dropped 50% in the last 6 weeks because they're competing so. Nobody's making any money. There's a third strategy, and it's from the mafia. I draw things from all over the place. In the early part of the 1920s, the mafia had a problem, which is nobody was obeying the rules. So these families that all wanted to sell their things everywhere, and they would get into these wars and kill each other off. So the mafia called this conference, I don't know where it was, I'd have loved to be in there, naturally not. And they decided to divide up the United States into regions that they would stay within. So New York was divided into 5, so they drew on a map. And each family was given a region and say, you can stay in here, but you can't go in there. You see how this is played in the ride-sharing business? Is you'd have a mafia conference of Uber, Lyft, and Didi Kuwadi and Grab Taxi sitting around a table, and Didi Kuwadi say, you take Shanghai, I'll take Beijing. You take LA, I'll take. But for this to work, you have, all you need is one rogue agent, right? The reason the mafia piece came apart is in 1986, one of the mafia families decided, this is the John Gotti group, decided that they were going to violate like 50 years of rules and shoot down the head of another. The whole thing just came apart. So that's all you need is one ride sharing. So that's a third. There's a fourth possibility, which is this business as it's structured, none of these companies is going to end up winning. That's going to be some other company we don't see on this list that's going to find a new way of entering this business that keeps the competition out. And that could be Google with its electric cars. But it could be Uber. Uber, if you might have heard, actually hired away the entire computer science department of Carnegie Mellon. Offered them 3 times the university salary, say, come work for us. And it's rumored they're working on robotic cars for Uber, which will take away the problem of dealing with drivers as employees and potentially create a capital intense business, which means that new players can't come in as easily. So this is going to be a fascinating business to watch unfold, because we're watching a young business kind of be created in front of us. And we're watching it kind of work through the competitive dynamics. But this isn't a steady state. This is not the way this business will end up looking in 5 years or 6 years or 7 years.
Can't end up like Coke and Pepsi, just.
The problem with Coke and Pepsi is that it's a physical business. You can't, it was never about price that they competed on. They tried to use advertising to get you to switch, but it wasn't like Coke knocked the price to 40 and then 35 and 30. So they never went the pricing route, because they knew that they had to make enough money to cover their marketing and their advertising. This is a pure pricing war, right? And that's making it, there's no winner in that war.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you again for coming, and we really appreciate it. This is a small token of our appreciation for you to take the time and spend the evening with us. And we'll just get a quick little picture here.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. And we also have a bit of Gustafson's swag. It's right here. We've got a hoodie and a water bottle and a bag from Gustafson School.
So I'm not going to get into trouble in security tomorrow.
No, unless you put water in it. So we'll take pictures with it.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much.